Well, hello learners, it's me, Mr. Gary. Do you want to know about homonyms, homographs and homophones? Not sure about the differences? Need some more examples? Stay tuned, watch all of this video and I'll show you how. First of all, we're going to have a quick review about homonyms, then we'll move on to homophones, then we'll talk a little about homographs. At the end I've got a little something for you that will help you visualize and remember what the differences are between these three types of word. So let's get cracking and I'll show you how. Defined, a homonym is two or more words that can have the same spelling or pronunciation, but the meaning is different. Let's have a look now at some examples of a homonym word. Let's start with the word red. My chair is partly red. Yesterday I read a newspaper. Read in this context is the past tense of the verb read, meaning that the newspaper was read at the time in the past. Flour. The main ingredient used when baking a pie or a cake. A decorative fixture in a garden. Flower. A decorative fixture in a garden or a plant pot. Mail. You receive parcels from the mailman in the morning. Male. He is a strong male bear. Right. Turn right when you go past the coffee shop. Right. On the question. Peace. I like to go for some peace and quiet now, please. I've got a headache. Could you pass me a piece of paper, please? I've run out. Tale. He likes to tell a good tale. He's very chatty. Look at my dog. It has a very long tail. Now we've looked at some homonyms, it's time to look at some homophones. I'll begin by telling you the word and decide which version of the word is correct. You can comment the answers in the comments box just down there if you like. Allowed. I'm not allowed to go to the football. It's closed because of the COVID virus. So which one is it? Is it A-double-L-O-W-E-D or is it A-L-O-U-D? Here's another example. Break. Be careful with the pots, dear, or they will break. Let's look at no and no. These two are often confusing. I know the answer to the question. See versus see. Oh, look over there. I can see a rainbow. However, I could look out of my window and I can see the sea. Steel versus steel. That tool is partly made from steel. Versus be careful of the thief. He may steal the money from you. There versus there versus there. I always change the pronunciation in this situation just to make sure that people know I mean they are when you hear the word there. As in, they're very hungry. They're very sleepy. They're very tired. Go over there and get me the newspaper, please. That newspaper is theirs. This cup is theirs. Which versus which? Which t-shirt should I wear today? And versus, did you read the story about the witch? She was very evil. Lots of different examples now about these homophones. These are words that have the same pronunciation but different spelling and meanings. There are many of these in the English language, so you might need to be wary. And I always recommend, if you're not sure, check in a dictionary. The dictionary will give you the answers. If you know the spelling, always check. You can also check online and check for the definition of the word that you're researching. So if you're writing, for example, and you think, I know what I want to say, but which spelling should I use? Is it this one or is it that one? Well, check the dictionary and that will give you the answer. Now we've done homophones, it's time to move on and look at homographs. Homographs are words with the same spelling, but they have different meanings, so different contextual meanings. And when I'm speaking with my students, I always say it depends on the context. Context is just another way of saying the meaning. What is the main idea of the sentence or the paragraph that we're trying to communicate? And I've got 5 examples of homographs for you here, and we're going to take a look. Remember, the spelling can be the same, but the meaning can be totally different, and the pronunciation could differ slightly as well. Let's have a look at some examples now. Close. It's 3 p.m, it's time to close and go home. Versus close. That was a very close call. She nearly crashed the car. Can. Can I have a can of Coca-Cola, please? That's a very good, easy sentence. Versus, he can do it if he tries. So let's have a look at that first example. Can I have a can of Coca-Cola, please? Here, the word can is involved twice. First of all, it's being used as a modal verb. And then can, in the second part of the sentence, is a can, as in a noun. We call this a can of, and then whatever the substance is inside. Is it Coca-Cola? Is it 7-Up? Etc. Content. I'm very pleased with the content on my YouTube channel. Lots of viewers tend to find my content useful. Versus, look at her over there. She's very content on the sofa. She's almost asleep. Dear. Dear Mum and Dad. I love you lots, Mum and Dad. So this is a typical opening for a letter. You might also hear the word dear being used to describe someone who's close to someone else. Example, don't worry about it, dear. You'll pass your test next time. Dear is in perhaps it's a close friend, a family member, or a relative. And that's like a consoling way to use the word dear. So usually you would use it in an unfortunate or a sad situation, perhaps. Date. The date of the video is the 29th of June 2021. Versus, I really like her. I think I shall ask her out on a date. Notice the spellings are exactly the same. The pronunciations can be slightly different. Depends where you want to put the stress in the sentence, really. And the meanings are completely different as well. Obviously, the date is referring to the calendar date, and the second example shows a date where someone is asking another person out for an evening meal, perhaps a visit to the cinema, or another romantic, maybe even non-romantic event. Duck. Look at that duck over there in the park, playing around with all its friends. Versus, duck, the ball is coming. And that would be where you duck. And I hope it really gives you a good idea and sense of the differences. As I mentioned, I've got a little resource to help you memorize and picture out these differences so it's easier for you to remember in your mind. I'll put that here. You might also want to click here to go into my playlist, or here to see my other videos in my channel. Thanks very much for watching, and I'll see you next time.